Historically, I mean, we have all been conditioned, including me, growing up, that the system is supposed to function in a certain way. That's what we've all been told. That the way to keep us safer is to lock up more people. We have by far the largest prison population in the world, yet we are nowhere near the safest country in the world. I remember listening to Rachel Barkow. She wrote a book called Prisoners of Politics. She was over at the University of Minnesota giving a presentation, and she said something that stuck with me, which is, if the criminal legal system was a private corporation, it would have been bankrupt years ago.
Penal populism is essentially setting policy on the basis of the public's gut reaction, emotional reaction to things. Basically the polar opposite of setting policy based on expertise and data and evidence. You often get policies that are not working very well. They're not working very well to produce better public safety outcomes.
And it was interesting because she was right, because there would be probably shareholders who would be asking the question, is what you're doing actually working? When I decided to run, it was really important to me to be my authentic self. And so what's really been interesting about what's happened in my first year here, there are a lot of people who will say, well, she's doing what she campaigned on, which seems to be a surprise to many people. I also understand, being in this position, the tremendous amount of pressure that you get in not just county attorney, but any elected position, to make decisions that are more popular with the way the political winds are going. My name is Mary Moriarty, and I'm the Hennepin County Attorney. I have always been really transparent and honest with you. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
You have had more access to the county attorney than you've ever had before. I heard you didn't want to hear about policies announced in the press. You wanted to be part of that. That the relationship between this office and law enforcement was broken. And I knew that I wanted to change that. We asked them, what are your concerns? What can we be doing better? Here's what I want from you: to be an active participant in developing some of these policies.
One thing that's been refreshing with Mary is including law enforcement, specifically police chiefs, on decision-making in a collaborative way.
What would you say are some of the biggest problems that you see in your shifts here? We are also doing training for law enforcement.
My name's Mike Radmer. I'm a managing attorney in the criminal division of our office. My primary responsibilities are law enforcement outreach and training.
I think it's really important that they understand what we're doing, that they feel a part of it. They can feel heard. I think they trust me to be transparent and to communicate.
When Mary came into office, she made a huge commitment to law enforcement that we would have open, honest, and frank communication.
We all agree we're not going to agree on everything. Our goal, and I think the chief's goal, is to be effective partners.
They're willing to challenge us when they don't have the same opinion as us. They're willing to push us as prosecutors when they think we're going down the wrong path. This work matters to me personally because I've always felt a call to service. Law enforcement deals with an arrest and a submission of a case, and then we have to pick up the ball at that point and say what's going to deter or rehabilitate or even punish. And we're really trying to work together to figure out what's going to best serve public safety and serve the citizens of Hennepin County.
So our youth auto initiative really was developed out of that collaboration with police chiefs. Right when I got into office, auto thefts were skyrocketing.
Welcome back. As many of you know, we have seen a major spike in car thefts across the metro.
Tonight, an example of the impact of the dramatic spike in Twin Cities car thefts.
Part of that had to do with the mechanical issues with Kia and Hyundai. We're seeing a lot of youth stealing cars and then engaging in pretty risky driving behavior that's a danger to the public and themselves. Law enforcement submitted cases to us for potential prosecution in 2% of those cases.
When I came here and we're meeting with law enforcement and they're saying to me, I can tell you who the next 5 to 10 kids are going to be that are at risk of hurting themselves or others by stealing a motor vehicle, being in the car, driving at high rates of speed. I know who they are based on our intelligence. I just don't have enough to submit a case. And when the previous response has always been, nothing I can do for you until you have a case to submit, that's a system failure. I'm Sarah Davis, and I am the director of our Children and Families Division. All of the work of this office that touches young people and their families.
We responded to a car theft, and the homeowner had a Ring video, and it was 90 seconds from when they dropped the guy off to when the car drove away.
Yep, yeah, they're fast.
We agreed that we would meet with them once a week, and they would tell us the names of these at-risk youth. What we would do is put together our resources from youth prosecution, child protection, access to county mental health, Be at School, that's our truancy intervention or diversion program.
We're talking about kids ages 10 to 17. They exist within other systems of power, whether that's their family, their school, the broader community. Their behaviors are deeply impacted by the choices that adults are making, and that in particular folks with system power are making.
We then had our social worker reach out to the family, was able to reach, I think it was 97% of the families, and 100% of those families said, "We're not surprised you're reaching out to us, and please help."
We saw an opportunity to step in, and it's been really effective. And we've said from the get-go to folks that we're starting in the context of youth auto theft, but this is the approach that we want to take as an office.
These services are voluntary. This means that we're not bringing a youth into the system. And the early data is that we are not seeing those kids escalate behavior or even come back on the same kind of behavior, which is wonderful. Fentanyl is killing people.
Mom, sister are with him here today and heard him fall and found him using yet again.
People sometimes know they're taking it. Oftentimes they don't, because it's used to cut with other types of drugs.
We revived him with Narcan, popped up, and, was just very dismissive. His mom and sister are doing CPR on him, and he really didn't care.
Our goal is to drive up the price of fentanyl so that it costs more, so it's not cost effective for people to fill other drugs with it. That will cut a lot of overdoses.
Obviously, Mom has watched her son almost die twice in the last less than 24 hours.
With lots of families who we want help, we don't know what to do, and you can't make somebody go to treatment if they're not ready.
If you look at what's happening right now with fentanyl, it's really pernicious. That's something that seeps its way into the worst tragedies in every single unit. You talk to people in child protection, their cases are very often about fentanyl, really. Mark Osler, I'm the Deputy Hennepin County Attorney and the Director of the Criminal Division. We're going to start bringing conspiracy cases so that we can get to higher level people.
Instead of looking at the tragedy of all of this, this is actually doing something that will help with the problem.
If we can disrupt the networks enough that the street price goes up, it won't be the cheapest thing to cut into everything else.
So it's really trying to cut off the supply and make it more expensive so that fewer people are exposed to fentanyl. I want to be an active voice with legislators in promoting legislation that promotes public safety. For instance, we know driver's license for all is safer. That if people have a driver's license, everybody else on the road is safer. And so supporting that gave us a tool, or the community a tool, to make us safer.
I am Jamel, the Hennepin County Attorney's Office Intergovernmental Relations Manager. I support the vision of the office by advocating for both public safety and criminal justice reform proposals at the Minnesota State Capitol, as well as working with our local partners and doing stakeholder and community outreach.
Getting grants for victim direct service organizations so that they can help victims. That keeps us safer and helps with healing, and so we supported that.
The role this office has in advocating for community agencies, we understand that there is a relational partnership and collaborative partnership with them. Many of the services that victims need are in community, based in community. So we partner to support them because we need them to do some of the things that we don't have the ability to do. My name is Glenn Bird. I am the manager of the Division of Victim Witness Services.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to express my support for House File 1437. Justice for victims demands more than arrest and successful prosecution. If we are to disrupt the cycles of violence and abuse, illustrated by the notion that hurt people hurt other people, we must do more to address victims' trauma and provide the necessary services or resources to help them on the path to healing.
I'm passionate about this work because I understand hurt people hurt people. If we can help one child or one person not be harmed, then I think we've done what we're supposed to do. I want to see that day.
We are also gearing up for the next session, and I think we're in a unique position to do that because we are the largest prosecutor's office in the state. We are very evidence-based and data-based, and we have good relationships with legislature.
Underrepresented and under-resourced communities have long been misrepresented at both the Capitol and at the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, and this work represents an opportunity to represent them for a fairer criminal justice system.
This is what we need to start creating safer communities. Thank you. It is still a tremendous honor to me to be the Hennepin County Attorney because I'm charged with trying to figure out what makes us all safer. We're trying to solve problems. We're not just widgets. Nobody else is a widget. We're not just doing, what the policy says. We are trying to be creative problem solvers, and I think that really appeals to people. At the end of the day, I have to be able to look in the mirror and tell myself that I was true to myself, that I was authentic. I made decisions that were aligned with my values, and that I didn't let political expediency stand in the way of making individual decisions. And so far I can say that, and I think that's the best thing I can possibly say, and I think that that's actually what's expected of me by the people who live in Hennepin County.